There we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hey, ladies, how are you? You're all well?
We're all well, thank you. Are you ladies?
Well, hi.
You are traveling today, Dr. Becky?
Yes, I traveled over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm in another county in our country. So I've been away from my home.
Yes, but you're working on an exciting project, and I think it's wonderful. And they could not have asked for a better person than you. So we welcome everybody here. We just gave it a couple of seconds here so they would hit Facebook, and people are able to join. And I know that Eliana is placing it everywhere on our social media. Dr. Becky, you are, it shows me that you are muted. Can you unmute yourself? Oh, there you go. Okay, great. All right, so we are excited to have everybody join us today on Light of the World. My co-host, Dr. Teresa Bernard, and I are very honored to have Dr. Becky Gitau back with us today. And we are very much looking forward to hearing what she has to say. And Light of the World is presented by Thread of Hope, and you can follow us on our social media. We appreciate it so much. Our other two guests are not here, so we are going to keep going with our guest speaker today. And we are going to be talking about forms of abuse in a relationship. It's a hot topic there, Dr. Becky. And my co-hosts and I, Dr. Linda Knowles and Lulu Kanza, we are very much in tune with what is happening. And the reason why we have Light of the World is so that we could bring topics of most important and shine the light on what is happening, because we believe that that as believers in the Word of God, we say that Jesus Christ comes in and he transforms a life. So if we believe that, then we must be the church that he has called us to be. And that means that we cannot be like geese and hide our head in the sand, but rather we bring forth things that we need to address as the body of Christ, because there are souls on the balance here, and there are children as well. So there is some questions that we would like for you to answer for us. And Dr. Teresa, you are a doctorate in theology. You received your PhD in theology. Therefore, you have a right as a minister, and you will be ordained as a minister next month. And therefore, you are a pastor as we see it. You are also the pastor, one of the pastors at Blessed Hope International Church, along with me. And so you can speak from a pastor perspective today. So feel free. So I'll be asking you questions as well. Dr. Becky, you are the expert here. This is your career. You are a psychologist, and you work with women and you work with men in Nairobi Hospital who come from situations of abuse. So you are an authority on the subject. You're very well respected in Kenya and amongst your peers. And you are now in the middle of writing modules on the social, if I understood it correctly, aspect of abuse. And the work that you have done has literally revolutionized your country. And I salute you. I respect you a great deal. And it is such a pleasure to have you here today. Let me ask you this question. Abuse comes emotionally. It comes mentally, it comes spiritually, and it comes physically, and you cannot separate them because they are intertwined together. And because they're intertwined together, they have similarities. And I like for you to break it down for us today, because people need to understand that a word is spoken. And when that word is spoken, it goes to the person's brain. It's in their mind. When it enters their mind, it alters them emotionally, as well as mentally, as well as spiritually, because it breaks. That's the point about abuse. It breaks the person down. So we want to fully understand how these 4 things that are associated with abuse, how it works in a woman or man's mind, or even a child, whoever it may be, because that's what an abuser does. They have to break that person down in all of those levels. And so, Dr. Becky, you start with how you see it when it comes to how it all begins. I think I always say this: what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You get it? It's all together. So please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Teresa. And I believe you can all hear me very well, clear
Yes.
and round. Like I had told you earlier that I may have some challenges, but I'm trusting God there will be no challenges because I'm not in Nairobi. When I say these, people from my country understand I'm out of Nairobi. And you have put it correctly that I'm helping the government. We are coming up with a national manual on dealing with GBV and mental health at the community, back at the community where issues of GBV and mental health happened. Because what has happened, we have a national guideline on clinical management, and I will not shy from saying that I was also part of that clinical management. That was for hospital setup, but now we are looking at community, where even when we look at community, we also look at people we call faith-based, the Christianity, because they are part of the solution. And I'm happy when I'm discussing these. Next week, but one will still be in another county with just faith-based readers, because we have realized they have a lot of work to do, because church has become a source. And if they are able to give this information, women and men, of course, will be saved. And maybe allow me to say this, where I work, if I mention a lot of women, I want to put a disclaimer. It's because from statistics where I work, 90%, because I work in one of the largest centers in Kenya that deals with gender-based violence and mental health. And so from the statistics, and I've been there, I've been working for the last 11 years. So I think I have the authority to talk about that. 90%, and I presented on Monday the statistics, 90% of the abused are women and girls.
That's
so
right.
So that does not mean that men are not abused. Now, from our own statistics, and 3% are boys. Well, no, 4% are boys, 6% are men.
Yes.
So you can see men are still abused, but you can see the bigger chunk. And even when there is an issue in the country, majority of people who are abused are women and girls. Having said that, let me come straight now to your question and just tell viewers that I'm always excited to be here just to share issues to do with gender-based violence and mental health, because this is what I love. This is what I do. And I know it affects everyone if we don't talk about it. And we cannot now shy away, even as Christians, to address these issues.
That's
because
right.
Now they have found us in church.
That's right.
They were there. Actually, they were there. And as we discuss, I'll show you. But we decided as church to keep quiet. And I'm not saying church has done anything wrong. Probably we did not know how to address. Now,
well, can I just respond to something that you said? Your statistics are correct, because it's the same way here in the United States. So the statistics seem to be correct everywhere. I don't know in other countries, but I just want to let you know that you're correct in what you just said. And I'm going to be a little bit more stronger than you, because I know that you may not be able to say what I'm about to say, because you are speaking as a psychologist. I'm speaking from an ordained and licensed minister, and soon to be Dr. Teresa will also be an ordained minister. It is a problem of the church. Let's call the spade, because the church needs to understand how to deal with domestic violence. And let's take out the domestic out of it, because there are people who are not married and they're still being abused. So the church cannot sly away from it, because even if it's not happening in the church, there are people who is happening to in the community, and they're coming into the church. So we cannot say that we cannot discuss it, or that we're not whatever. I'm saying to you, we're not doing a good job. I'm saying it as a minister, we're not doing a good job. So I just want our pastors out there to really understand what we're doing here today, because we're going to be standing before the throne room of heaven, and God is going to say, what did you do in this situation? So we cannot run from it, because we are the clergy people, and clergy people cannot run away from what is expected of us. So I appreciate your respect, Dr. Becky, because I know it's coming from a place of respect, but Dr. Teresa and I know that we have to address it. So we'll say it, right, Dr. Teresa? I put you there on the spot.
No, I definitely agree with you, and Dr. Teresa, the church has failed.
Yes.
In doing what the church needed to do.
Correct. Go ahead, Dr. Becky.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I may not be able to say like you're saying, because I don't have the authority. I'm just a good girl going to church.
Yeah. We'll say it for you. I'm not shy.
But issues to do with violence, I can read it. So you asked me to talk about and to break down the violence that happens. And you said it clearly that we have the physical. And actually, it doesn't, people only think about the physical. This is where there are kicks, there are slaps. Not, that is not where it starts. It starts with emotional. Emotional, it could be verbal, abuse each other. Emotional cuts across even, actually, let me say, emotional is about power and control.
That's right.
That I am controlling my partner. I'm controlling what they are doing. I am even monitoring their phone, sorry to say. I am controlling, Dr. Teresa, you can hear me?
Yeah, yes.
I am controlling what they are wearing. I'm controlling who they are talking to.
Yes.
I am even putting barriers on. And the reason why I'm manipulating, we have partners who will even threaten you that I'm going to kill myself if you don't do this. And now as a partner, you feel now I'm obliged to do this because my partner will commit suicide, and their work is to manipulate you. And so when they manipulate you, like you said very well, it starts with verbal. Yes. I start believing, because they also, as they control me, they also start showing me how useless I am. Yeah. And every day they remind me I'm good for nothing. And remember, this is my partner, a partner that I dance naked in front. I don't mean removing clothes.
I understand.
It's just a metaphor.
Yes.
It's a metaphor. Yeah. I dance naked, so possibilities of believing the partner is higher. So when he says or she says, I am useless. And that's why I cheat on you. They even justify why I should cheat on you, because they even manipulate. Remember, this is emotional abuse. They even talk about my physique. Yeah. You know, since I married you, you're not this good. There are girls out there, there are men out there who have very good figures. Look at the way you're fat, look at the way you're slim. And that makes me hate myself. And because of that, I may not be able even to deliver the woman or the manly duties. Now, from there, we will move to psychological and then to physical abuse.
That's right.
And from there, there's something else that you left that is very common, the economic abuse.
That's right.
Now, let me talk about my country, because I know very well. When we came up with a domestic violence bill, Now it changed, the shift changed. And now it's not more of physical. What is more common is psychological and emotional. And a lot of people now are dead. Because some, you have to stop working, you have to stop doing this. And actually what I want to say, you stop existing, you stop living, and you live their life, because that is their aim. Their aim is to make sure that you live their life. And when you start living your life and you have no life, allow me to say this as a psychologist. So what happens in most cases, we look for a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Some people will turn into alcohol and drugs. It's a coping mechanism. Unfortunately, we judge people from their behaviors, not from what they are going through. I have seen some people who cope, and I don't know how to put this. You'll help me because you're in church. They spiritualize things.
Well,
they become fanatic.
That's right.
Because what it happens, it's soothing their ego. It's releasing some dopamine. Because I've been told how useless I am. No longer, I'm nothing. I'm useless. And so that's why you see, I move from one church to the other. I see, I'm not there because I love God, but because there's that thrill. And probably as a pastor, I may not know that. Neither would I know that because I'm not a pastor. But from a psychological point of view, they're coping. And this affects, if a relationship have a children, it affects. The other type of violence is the spiritual violence.
Right.
Where it's very common, spiritual violence. If I'm, for example, in a cult, I want you to join that cult because you have no mind of yourself. Remember, I have controlled you. And I will show you, or even I'll deny you opportunities to go to church. Why you going? You must worship with you. You must. And
it's called the punishment. If you don't do this, then you get punished this way. You get ignored. They won't speak for a day, or whatever, until they completely have sucked the life out of you. That's complete control. But I was just adding to what you were saying.
So, thank you so much, Dr. Teresa. And when they do that, unfortunately, and I know we'll talk about, we don't know how to react. Now we become the puppets.
That's right.
So we are controlled.
Yeah.
And so what happens, and I want to get, and I would like everyone to get this clearly, is that we start developing other illness, other than mental illness, physical illness.
Depression.
And those, yes, and there are those illnesses that, I work in a hospital and I tell people, there's some of these illnesses that come to the hospital, we call them psychosomatic illnesses. Illnesses that have no prognosis or diagnosis. Illnesses that just need a mental well-being and prayers, for example. And if you sit down with such people, they'll tell you the amount of abuse they are going through is heavy, is a lot. Now, I'm happy that, and you have the audacity to talk to the pastors, that majority of people in the church are going through emotional abuse.
Yes.
Because as a good Christian, I might not fight my husband, I may not fight physically my wife, because I don't want them to go and tell the pastor or the elder of the church that I physically abused them. But emotional abuse, you cannot, where will you say you are hurt? Unfortunately, you are hurt in your brain, but it's hard to pin it. Yeah. And so, because you may be emotionally drained, but when I get to church, I may look okay.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk about the abusers, unfortunately, so that you also get this as you address as a minister. The abusers are very intelligent.
Exactly.
That's why they are
manipulative.
That's why they are, exactly. They know how to manipulate.
That's right.
And they can talk very well out there.
That's right.
They can even talk well about the wife or the husband out there. And people tend to believe the abusers
Yes.
more than people who are abused because they know how to act. They know how to show the other side of themselves. And again, because of that cycle, the abuser will abuse me today. Tomorrow they'll apologize and bring gifts. And then they will give me a silent treatment for a whole week. Then when they want to add the silent treatment, they'll come give me gift. And so they make me live in their cycle. Yeah. And so we are seeing so many deaths, but because people don't know how to associate it with abuse, so they are counted as just normal death. And other than the physical death, as I finish, because I know you need to talk as a minister. Other than the physical death, I keep on saying mental death is the worst.
That's right.
Because mentally you are dead. Yeah. You are a walking corpse.
Exactly.
Because you will only do what you're told to do. You live in fear. When you see him or her calling you, before you even pick, there's a lot of fear and anxiety. You develop depression.
Yes.
You develop illness. So we will only be treating illness, but we have not seen the root cause of what has happened.
So I'm going to invite Dr. John to jump in and answer a question. But before I do that, I'm going to ask you the question so you can be prepared. But I'm going to answer some of the things that Dr. Becky said here. Dr. John, I'd like for you to talk about what does the Bible actually say, because we have to understand this in the church in order to deal with what she's just saying, what she just very clear outlined. What is the role of a husband towards his wife to be a partner for her emotionally? When you marry somebody, and goes to both, man and woman, you're just marrying that whole entire person. That person, emotional status, spiritual status, mental status becomes part of the marriage because the two people are seen as one. But the Bible is very clear what the role of a godly, hear me, that's the difference here. We're talking about a godly marriage versus a non-godly marriage. We're talking about a godly man versus an ungodly man, and that could be, that the woman as well. And as you said, 90% are women. So just for the sake of this conversation, we're just going to say what happens with how does it affect the woman when the husband is acting this way, but what does the Bible really have to say? But before you answer that, I want to go back and I want to say that in the United States of America, anybody that goes, any woman or man that goes, especially woman that goes into the hospital with any kind of accident, there's a social worker that comes in. I had a file cabinet fall on me. It's true. It fell on me. It fell on my foot. I needed stitches on my foot, and I got to the hospital, and a social worker came in. How did it happen? Are you married? What is your relationship like? And I didn't make the connection of what was happening, but this is common standard. That's number one. And number two, when women come into the hospital or to the doctors with any symptoms, and this is a fact that is going on, and they can't find out what that symptom is, automatically they're asked, what is happening with your partner. They always will address it as a partner. Do you have a partner? What is your relationship like? Because we understand in the United States what you just said, Dr. Becky. So it is 1000% correct what you just said, because women go into depression. And I've revealed it at the very first, talk that we had about this, that the reason why I got involved with domestic violence here in Massachusetts is because I was at work. I was at my job, and a woman came to my office. And the woman came in, was a young woman with a small child, and she was a walking corpse. And I was so overtaken. I did not know who this woman was, but you know, she left me her number and phone number, and I called her and I said, please forgive me. I know you don't know me, but I want to tell you what I saw in my office today. What has happened to you? Why are you walking around as if you're dead? And the woman started crying, and she told me her story and what brought me into this little volunteer thing that I've done in the domestic violence world, which now here we are 20 years later, because my son was not born, and here we are now discussing this issue. So it's everything that you said. I just want our audience out there to understand that in the United States of America, what she just said happens. It's accurate and it's true. And I'm so excited to know that you are out there changing this for Kenya, because I personally believe that what you're going to set into motion that's going to come out of Kenya is going to go out to the rest of Africa. And that's very important. This is the hour for you, Dr. Becky. I'm excited because you're saving lives. Okay, so having said that, Dr. John, please, 3 minutes before I go to my next question. Because you came in late. No, I'm joking. I'd like to introduce everybody to Reverend Dr. John Nundugu, and I just killed your name.
You just killed my name.
But I'm very excited about
my name.
I did. I really did. Dr. John is a great friend of mine. I have great admiration and respect for him. He is the vice president of international affairs for Manda University. And he is, you received your doctorate in corporate leadership just a month ago. He graduated along with me. So I'm very excited to have him here. And I thank you for coming. And I see that Bishop Michael Ganza, I think I said that name right, is joining us here today as well. And he's also a friend of mine. Welcome, both of you here on the program. So, Dr. John, I'll have you go ahead and answer that question, please.
Thank you. Allow me to say hi to everyone that is live with us. And yes, I don't know where to start. Dr. Betty has just hit the nail on the head and put facts on the table. One, what does the Bible has for a marriage? The Bible, right from the Genesis, has standards laid down for those that want to be together in marriage. In Genesis, it talks of one leaving the father and the other leaving the mother, and both becoming one. That's Genesis. After they have loved each other and have decided they want to be together, the Bible calls them one, terms them as one unit, not as two different identities. Now, having said that, in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, and verse 22 to verse 33, which I will not read, but I will only mention. Verse 22 speaks of wives submitting to the husband. And the verse 23 talks of the husband being the head of the house, as Christ is the head of the church. Now, if we take it from there, Christ did not lord it over the church. He did not lord it over. He did not force. He did not coerce. People followed him willingly because he taught in love and through love. And even those that wanted to accuse him without proper reasons were finding it hard because what he had laid down as the foundation was love and truth. Now, when it comes to verse 25, it talks of men loving their wives. And it is as Christ loved the church. So the man here is ordered to love, not to beat, not to coerce, to love. And I want to say this. In verse 26, it shows us what Christ did through love. It says he cleansed the church. That means he did not go talking of the evils of the church, of the men that were there, however bad they could have been, like Zacchaeus and the others. But he showed them love. He defeated them through love. He did not tell Zacchaeus to give out what he had stolen. He showed him love, and Zacchaeus volunteered to give back what he had stolen. This is what we see. And he cleansed the church by the washing through the water and through the word, which means our words should be soothing, should be words full of love, should be words full of compassion. Your partner is not an angel falling from heaven. Your partner is a human being with weaknesses. And when you agree to get to be together, you agree to have the weaknesses in the life. And it is you, man. It is for you as a man to help her overcome her weaknesses. Don't use the weaknesses as your tool for beating her or for showing her as though she's useless. And I want to touch on the spiritual, how does a spiritual abuser look like in the church? Or what is a spiritual abuse? I'll define the spiritual abuse as the use of psychological and emotional manipulation.
That's right.
Which is characterized by systematic, get this, systematic pattern of using coercive and controlling
That's
behavior
right.
within the teachings of religion. Within the teachings of religion. You want to use these teachings of the religion in a manipulative way to coerce this person into what you want.
I agree with what you said.
That is the spiritual abuse.
Yes.
The same as spousal, or even for child, for elder, or at workplace. It can be physical, it can be sexual,
That's right.
it can be emotional. Because the context, however, the impact is particularly widespread. And I want to say this. We have so many preachers that are spiritual abusers.
Yeah.
I start from the preachers because I'm a preacher.
I agree. I agree.
Judgment will start at the altar. So I start with the abusers that are in the spiritual context.
That's right.
Men and women of God. We have men of God that abuse their women using the religion. They use the religious teachings to manipulate their wife, to manipulate their children, to manipulate even the church members. Spiritual abuse is not just in the marriage, it's even in the membership.
That's right.
Where you use the spiritual teachings to manipulate the people to either give or do something.
You touched on a lot of points there, Dr. John. And everything that you have said is biblically correct and theologically correct, Dr. Teresa. If you've been quiet over there, how about if you want to come in for a moment or so? I think we have 20 minutes left to the program. And then while you speak, Dr. Becky, I want to come to you and then to Bishop Michael. After everything that Dr. John has said, and he set the stage. Thank you, Dr. John. For my next question.
Would I just give 2 points? Just 2.
Yes, please.
I want to talk of the signs of spiritual abuse.
Yeah.
How can you know when there is spiritual abuse? 1, spiritual abuse might, not must, might include manipulation, exploitation, accountability enforced by threats.
Unfortunately.
Censorship of decision making, coerced to conform, where you want people to conform to what decision you want to make, so you censor them. The inability to ask questions or voice disagreement. The abuse might suggest they are in a divine position and therefore require your obedience. That's like
Run when you hear those words. Run, because it's so untrue. Which your point is correct, because that's my question here that I want Dr. Becky. He said it from a ministerial position, which is great. He just answered the question before. It was the same question from him to come as a spiritual person. But Dr. Becky, I think it's very important. We've heard Dr. John say what the actions are of a minister, which abuses and what it looks like. Now, Dr. Becky, it's very important for you to tell us because we have established the 90% of those who are being abused are women, just like you have it there, same here in the United States. And I would venture to say that it's like that everywhere, but what are the signs that women, and I think this is important, of what is it that you're looking for when you start to hear certain words? Because, we started saying that, a word is spoken, it goes to the person's head, and that's where it all starts. You have that immediate breakdown of all of those abuses because they're intertwined. So give us very accurate and very easy to understand for women out there, because we're not just talking to women who are being abused right now, but there are those who are listening that should be warned about abuse. So what are those things that they need to look at? Because Dr. John said it from the Christian perspective of what goes on in the church. From the minister, listen to me because I'm your authority, I'm your daddy, and it doesn't matter if daddy is saying things that are not true, because we're supposed to accept it because it's daddy, and nobody wants to argue with daddy, and then you find yourself dead. I'm sorry, Bishop Michael is laughing at me. Yeah.
I agree with that.
But I'm coming to you there, I was going to call you Dr. Michael. I'm prophesying over you. All right. So Dr. Becky, please, will you explain that to us?
Thank you so much, Dr. Teresa. And what I believe in any relationship is give and take.
Yes.
In any relation, especially intimate relationship. No one has, as much as the Bible puts it clear that the husband is the head of the family. Very okay. I agree with that. But we should be in a situation where I can voice out, I can talk. So when you start seeing your husband or let me put it, your partner is always manipulating you by, if you didn't do this, I would not have hit you. If you did do this, I would not have been angry. And so everything is pushed anti.
Yes.
So the second thing you need to check, if you cannot contribute anything, and I'm not talking about any monetary, I'm talking about because you are in a journey, both of you. So you need also to voice out and you need to be heard. Then when you find that every time your partner is using silent treatment, and here I want to make it clear, silent treatment, I mean in terms of punishment, that we can't resolve anything, we can't discuss anything. And every time I want to make you feel guilty.
Yeah.
That's a red flag. Anytime your partner restricts who you are talking to, where you should go, and I know we can agree on where I should go, but you are restricted on what to do, monitoring even your phone, monitoring and even dictating what you should wear, that fits them, not for your own gain, that fits them because they can't trust you. Anytime they also control your thinking.
Yes.
You know, they control your thinking, that whatever you say is useless. And so you fear. And I tell partners, anytime your partner calls you and you feel anxious, you don't want to talk, you feel like you want to run away, there is a big problem there.
Yes.
Because some of the things that we look at are just slaps, the physical. Probably you may not see that.
Yeah.
But these small things, yeah. Anytime you cannot express your feelings,
yes,
you can't share, you can't say I am feeling bad, then there is a problem, and a big problem there. You can't even contribute to any decision of your relationship, that they have to say, and whatever I say, it should remain like that, and it's like that. Whether it feels.
And then Dr. Becky, when it gets to that point, then it escalates to the physical. This is what people are not, listen, ladies, listen to me very clear. Okay, it starts with the emotional, and when they get to the emotional, you're going to have mental abuse. You're going to have the spirit abuse, because your spirit is going to be broken down to the point where you can no longer think for yourself. Nothing that you do is going to please these men. Hear me, hear me. Nothing is going to please them. And the next thing that happens is they isolate you from family, because the family is a problem. Your brother is a jerk. Your sister is a jerk. Your parents are not respected. Listen to me. You're in trouble. And before you get to that point, don't allow yourself to be murdered, because then the physical comes next. Let me tell you something. Physical is not just beating, it's sexual. Sexual rape happens within marriage. Don't fool yourself. That's not the way God created marriage to be. And definitely God did not create for a woman to be raped by her husband. It goes against everything that the word of God, because now they have stolen not just your mind, but now they're stealing that very intimate thing that should be happening between you and your spouse, and it's not happening. They want to kill you there as well, and that's not right. And I am going to turn it over to Bishop Michael. I was supposed to play something here today, but Facebook would not allow it, and it was because it's so violent that my social team said, we can't put that up because YouTube will shut you down and Facebook will close you down. But it is serious. People die all the time. And see, I'm not used to that in the United States. Yes, we have women that die, but nobody's watching. You know, this video actually showed the woman being beaten and the child, a baby beating their child, had blood all over it. That would never happen in the United States of America. DSS would come on and they would remove that child from your home, and neither of you will be able to see that child. It just won't happen. Let me give you this little example.
Now, before we go to Bishop Michael, let me say this, that in most cases, the reason why we don't talk about it, because there's a lot of shame. And then everything is put on me. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of guilt trip that is taken through me. And so when I go out there, I can't talk about it because of shame.
That's
and
right.
Everybody believes that I don't know how to handle my family. So we need to tell women, get out of shame.
That's right. That's right. And I love the way you put that, get out of shame. That's exactly right. You know, back to that video, this is a true thing that actually happened to me, and I can talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I was engaged, and my family was having a pizza night. So my dad sent my fiance and I to get the pizza. And I was like, I can't eat pizza, that's fattening. So I said to my fiance, I'm gonna run. I'll run to the pizza place while you drive. And then when you get there, we get the pizza, and then I'll hop in the car and we'll get back home. So that was and I said, wait 10 minutes, give me a 10-minute start. But he didn't want me to run because it was a very dangerous place where I was going. So he said, I can't, I'm not gonna wait 10 minutes because I don't know if something's going to happen to you. And I said, okay, fine. So I'm jogging, and then he comes along and he was just beeping at me. You know, he was just joking with me, beeping, you know, whistling, you know, whatever. And this man came out of his house and he started yelling at my fiance, thinking that I was being abused. And the next thing I knew, there was police officers everywhere because the other guys came out of their houses and were trying to, protect me. And I had to explain to the police officers, I'm not being abused. I'm not an abused fiance. It's just that I am running because we're having pizza and I'm going to eat the pizza and it's fattening. And I was trying to burn up, the calories before I ate the pizza. So what I'm saying is, in the United States, that doesn't happen. We don't go outside and see women being beaten to death. That doesn't happen. We don't see them bleeding. We're not seeing any of that. And when I saw this video, I was overwhelmed. But Bishop Michael here, I learned a terrible tragedy that happened in his family. And I feel really saddened that we have to make him relieve maybe some things, but it's important for him to discuss it, because I'm going to ask you, your family was a victim. Your sister was murdered by her husband in an abuse situation. And now you're a minister of God's word. And now I am going to ask you, not just as a brother, but as a minister, not just a minister, because now you're a bishop. So depending on where you are, you're up here. So now you have decisions, or there are people who are looking at you as a bishop. You need to talk. You need to say what it feels like, not just for your sister, but what it did to your family. I don't even know if your sister had children. I never even asked you that question. But now you're in a position to speak from both sides, and that makes you very powerful here today. So I think we have, what do we have?
10 minutes.
All right, we have 10 minutes. We got to end at 1, guys. So Michael, you take us to where you need to be and just leave me a minute to wrap up. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for everyone that came up on the program. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Dr. Becky's saying no.
Your voice is hoarse.
My voice is hot.
Hoarse.
Hoarse.
There's echo.
There's an echo.
My voice echoes. My voice echoes.
For me, no, but for them, yes.
Yeah, because probably if they are using a headset, then but I think it's okay now.
Yeah,
Okay.
better.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what I want to say is that this program is scheduled and
We cannot hear you, Michael. If I can't hear you, nobody else can hear you.
We
you
can't.
hear me.
No.
Yeah.
So
All right.
think I have to just get a headset.
All right, you go ahead and get your
Wait a minute.
I'm
Wait a
just
minute.
go ahead and you do what you gotta do until you're ready.
To hear me now.
Yes, better, I think. Go ahead.
So can you all hear me?
Oh, beautiful. Go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. So what I want to say is that we all know that we cannot spend just an hour to finish such a program.
Yes.
And one thing is, when we are trying to be solution givers, we should not run with solution. We have to take time, dissect solutions to be able, because the information which we giving out there is what actually wakes up the people.
Yes.
And make them come to realization and conscientization. Number one, quickly, I just want to touch on something that before I want to be snappy. The responsibility of husbands in marriage towards their spouse. You see, every husband is supposed, the primary responsibility of every husband is to love unconditionally.
Unconditionally.
And as a husband, your role and your responsibility, it goes beyond providing for your family and running the family with the money you earned. It is not just the money which you provide. That means that you are the head of the family. When Dr. John was talking about, the man was designed to be the head of the family. But unfortunately, when you have somebody who is the head of the family and he has no sense of direction and no sense of thinking, how would you expect that he leads the family?
That's where the problem lies.
We are living in a dispensation. We are now coming to knowledge and we are learning so many things that sometimes when wives or women are in leadership, they do more excellent than even men being on the leading. Because men will compromise, but women don't compromise.
That's right. So any man, so the fact that you are a man and you realize that and you stand on your ego and say that the Bible says I'm the head of the family, it is not how the Bible explained it. When the Bible talks about, when it was Paul who wrote scripture and said, men, you are the head of the family. That means you are supposed to lead the family as a leader and not to be bossy in the home. You are supposed to provide leadership. Being a head means that you come in with certain decisions and innovative plans, what will enhance the family's life and brings the family from the level they are to another level. Because everyone who is the head, he has a responsibility to foresee that the organization, which marriage is also an institution, is being run credibly so that it will get accreditation. That's right. So since Bible makes me understand that marriage is an institution, you don't exercise headship in the home by you just trying to say that the Bible says I'm the head and that's it, and you got nothing to do, you got no decisions to make. Then when the woman assumes responsibility and make decisions, why do you then become so inferior and begin to humiliate her and end up trying to abuse her? This is where the problem begins from.
Yeah.
When they forgo their leadership responsibility as the head of the family, and now they realize that they are being outshined because we have been together every decision you make, it doesn't help the family. So I, the woman, have to make up my mind to make sure the children are involved, to make sure I work very hard and I strategize things so that the family, because we the men, we don't even care what goes on. We don't even know how the home is being run. That is the question.
Mm.
And all that we need to do, all that we do is we just use our ego and begin to exercise lordship. The fact that you provide money, put money on the table doesn't run the home. It is somebody who actually use the money to, to get things done so that the family keeps on going. And see, that's why sometimes I keep on saying that we have to respect women. Because every man, you have to protect your wife. Number one, some of the things you have to do. You are supposed to be a leader. And also, one thing is, I want to say this on this program. We all, no matter who you are, whether you're a bishop, apostle, whatever, doctor, you have to understand that the woman you got married can never be like you, can never think like you. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
There is no way the woman can function exactly like you. So don't expect the woman to be who you want her to be. It will take a period and a process of time. Because you met somebody who has grown up in an environment and been conformed to certain different lifestyle before you met her and got married to her. She had a life before you met her. So you don't expect that within a space of 1 year, she's going to just be a doormat for you to ride upon. She has a life. So now you got to come to the place of understanding this in the first place, that it would take the same age by grace where I met my wife or my husband so that she will come to understand me, for the two of us to understand ourselves. So now what do we then do? Because the woman has a sense of thinking, the man has a sense of thinking. So when the man is trying to exact or impose on me or trying to let me do this, and it does not, go on well with me, there is an ego in me that will bring a little bit of resistance because I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not used to that life. So that is why it is important for us to just understand what it means to tolerate one another. Tolerance. If all these abuses and humiliations and assault that has been happening, it's just because the level of maturity is not there. Which sometimes when people want to get married, it's like they want to just be on a counseling field. They want to counsel them. You cannot just take one man to do a counseling for a whole marriage. It's a process. But there are some basic facts we got to let them know. So the question is, people, men who abuse, okay, let me say this. Majority, about 95% of women suffer more abuse than men. Worldwide. Why is it so? Because, number one, any man who will abuse a woman, you are not matured.
Yes.
A mature person would be patient and will observe and try to understand. You have to now come to a place, you have to understand the woman. Why do you did what you did? You got to understand her before you start yelling and becoming angry and going mad. Because as I said in the beginning, Dr. John, before you met your wife, right? You are grown in a different environment. She has grown in a different environment. No matter what it is, you are an apostle of the Lord. But there are times, sometimes you look at how she does the things. Why is it not this way? Why is it this way? But because of a sense of maturity, you now begin to come down and observe her and try to watch what she want to do to the end, just to get a clue, understanding of what she want to do. Because women by nature have been given gift by God. They have sense of direction. They provide solution. That one I will say. So why then should we actually, because before a woman will open her mouth to nag, then it means that she's fed up.
Mm.
Before she opens her mouth to nag, then it means that before she complains of something, then it means that she has observed and endured it. But you see, the little complaint that they make, the little questioning, they question us, instead of us to be patient, to understand that before they talk, they have observed things, endure things, and now it is time for them to voice out and to get clarification. And that is when men begin to react and explode as if they are atomic bombs.
We've got sorry to interrupt you, Bishop Michael. We've got 1 minute left.
It looks as if this has gone to a very deep, more of a discussion. Dr. Becky, I know that you have to leave right now, and we are being looked at as well. There's a lot more to this program than just what meets the eyes today. And I feel that it should be continued from another perspective. I feel like we talked enough now about the abuse issue. Now we need to talk about how do we fix it? What's the
solution?
here? And I like where Bishop Michael took it, because now we have to put into place this. And if everybody agrees, whether you can come back on or whether you can't come back on, next week we're going to answer just the question, where do we go from here? Because it isn't just about a couple. It is about as a minister of God's word, I don't know what happens in other countries, but in the United States of America, you can't just up and get married. There are counseling sessions that you must attend with the pastors of serious denominations. And this is where the problem arises.
Dr. Teresa, I mean, quickly, let me just summarize it and just get my, just about 4 to 5 minutes. You see, solution is what we are trying to bring out. Solution is what we are trying to provide out.
Correct.
So as I said, so now the abuse is already in the system. So what do we do? How do we avoid it? How do we come out of it? So now the discussion is not what is important, but the solution to provide is what we need to focus on. So if I'm going to end it right here. So another time when you people, program something, then we're going to find a way to talk about the solution, how we can avoid them and prevent them from happening. Not just sit down for it to happen and later on we just come and say that the Bible says, the Bible says. We got to stop it.
Yes.
We got to end it.
Yes.
This is where I'm coming from.
That's
we
right.
cannot just sit down and say that the church has counseling sessions and all these things. I mean, it is good to have counseling sessions, but the truth of the matter is the society has a role to play. The church has a role to play. So how do we stop it? So this is where I'm going to end. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Though I was late on the program, but at least I was able to just make a way on. So God bless every one of you. And thank you.
Bishop Michael, you've just done it so well. The Lord keep you and bless you.
I just want to say that we had a plan today here with 10 questions that we were supposed to answer, and we did not answer all those questions. And what happened to Bishop Michael? Okay, so I'm just going to say this. Yes, there is a role to play from everybody, and the role needs to be played correctly. I cannot answer from any other perspective. The only thing that we can do is from the experts, for them to come and tell us what needs to take place, what is happening, which Dr. Becky very well spoke here today, very eloquently. And I thank you for joining us today. And I would like to remind everybody that we are going to come back next week. Don't forget to join Everyday Life and our mailing list. And I have left information on Dr. Becky, so that you know her qualifications, so that you understand that she knows exactly what it is that she's talking about. And it's a real honor to have her here. So we look forward to next week, to seeing you again at the same time. And thank you for joining us today. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks. Once you guys stay on the line for a little bit.